Coming into an incredible line stream location force recognition time sequence. It's all can modify when you come into line centers to inner child or understand how you use the operation service location and settings. All loss detection setting and position your Stargate, Star Portal, Starlink, Star Command, center line interference, and how to use your calculation system, especially coming into relation location your settings. It's all about understanding in position locations. Once you come back to the prodigal son, you're in your academy. Okay. So in that position locations, your line settings is locked in frame. The position of track line opens all memory of your line set interference, how to use your digital pads, your calculation stream location settings, your corridors, your direction of time sequence, your position of all levels, your facilities, your command centers, all can be modified to your rooms and set location your system of your dorms, your residency and high set location system, the inner line calculation settings. So 24,000 platforms are set up. Okay. 12,000 line signatures to centers and line connections, high interference, position of cylinders and line rotations to the aquatic center, which is connected high position of track lines into Lantarians of Atlantis. This is all we're dealing with line interference. 12,000 line signature stream locations and line position of animals and jungles and high calculations of the myriad in set locations. 80% locations of water, and 20% lines of land and line set location system and track communication setting. Metafocal high center interference of yin and yang. Process of 6 to 9 position of track line. Perceptions is understanding the sun and positions of your moon is track communication your sim. So you're creating a holographic sim from inside line conditions. And once it comes out of provisional locations, you understand how to use it light through projections and the moon through set location. So it's all about understanding how to use yourself as a film projector of your set location to your sim through perception. And the higher volume you go into color conduct, your location identification code lines, you really understand that you can change your perceptions to anywhere line and set locations, and you can platitude as position location to anywhere you want in solar systems. So you have to get into formation line interference, get into correlation line interference of digital pad, change your geometric lines of your mapping sequence in set location, your corridors, your rooms, your expansions, your facilities, your dimensional door line settings. There's 24 million doors at dimensional setting, 24,000 platforms in set location to your systems on its application to its academy. Now we're going to the outer ring. We go into the outer rim. We're creating line settings of circuitry board lines. So we go into high calculations of the moon. Now the sun communication line interference of the sun and rotation surface is going into radiation line surface. The triangulation position location of the data stream is going to set up high position of travel lines. Okay, so we're coming in road graph streams locations. So we're coming to the expansions. Okay, an optical line stream and line rotation into primal quotes. Code line position of track communication of data ops, position location of data ports, telepads, teleportation line interference location of telegraphing, telewaving, telesignals, communication line interference, code waving line stream location and triangulation, setting position location of new line settings and position your settings through transformation. Now, the transformation to telewaving center line interference is setting up new bridge centers, how we can walk across line conditions of one planet solar system to another calculation setting. Calculation modification of units has to really get into how to use the solar system settings. So as we set up bridges, you can walk from one planet to the next in set locations. So it's expanding the space line of interdimensional location system. Dimensional line is a course line in a 4-box line sequence. Going inside the dimensional door line, the cerebral of the mind line opens up automatically with holographic line setting. So it circles and rotates and set location lines into a platform. The interdimensional line rotation sets position of track communication and setting. So every time you change a thought in communication, let's go through quarter line rotations in position of track lines, right? Okay, I want to change the sequence pattern position of travel. Okay, center line positions back in interference. Okay, so every time you do that, you're changing the core line setting direct location your digital pad. That is position of traction. Okay, so it comes offline sequence, comes out. So it say like in position location, you create a pyramid, right? It's up, right? And it's got position location all different angle lines, right? You can spin it, turn it, change the correlation, clock line center interference, set up video graph line interference, travel calculation, goes back in, goes back in your memory. All set location line setting has a storage facility position of unit line. The correlation streamlines to the cerebral cortex streamline position of track line opens all correlation setting directions. So it's understanding how to use your telepads and all set locations of your settings. Okay. All right. So we're going to send the communication setting and position of travel lines. Everybody see my face recognition as sky grid line setting? It's pretty wild, eh? Okay, so getting comfortable in your sim is really to understand how to use a system to its location system. Travel lines of high center interference are calculated modified. So it's important you understand how to really redirect your signals to the location of your settings. Okay, so let's go into channel stream, direct line set locations, all right? Above the system location line settings, okay? So let's the question of structures, buildings, line position, location, high center interference, into a dome in rotation, all right? So crevice ground lines, rotation surface, and triangulation line set positions of operation, okay? Structure buildings, dimensional line windows, high correlation setting, track communication line center, interference, position, high setting, and all track communications. Okay? So you have to recognize the high center interference and direct signal. Okay, and position location of panels and position of traction. Okay? Now, in that set line, we set up a new circle line rotation center to the ground line operation surface. Center position locations comes into plateaus. Okay, so this is where it comes into higher line centers. We set up data stream location of centers. This way the sims can go in crossing signal location setting and direction. Okay, so that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to do today in line rotation is created through anomalies in set position. Okay, so that's what we're doing, creating outs. So once you understand that, it comes in an optical stream location of data port. Center position location is electrical circuits. Okay, so it's like this in set locations. It expands out, right? So you're looking at the line rotation, center indirect signal, in set location of system, and center position of operation. Okay, so it travels out, lacing lines of 3 set lines of wires, plasma stream lines, and plasmesium force line stream locations, and dimensional line signals in set location. Okay, so once you understand that, the actual units, or anything, the recruiting line interference, ones that get activated, the stream location system, can learn how to go through the holodecks location settings, set up the Stargate portals so they go right through. So it's all about understanding to set up road graph streams and data port location setting directions. The more we volume, the more we come to higher levels of expansion and position location or settings into our academies. Okay, so that's what it is. It's just coming to this great location system. And then we go through cobwebbing, line rotation center into the outer ring in high position of operation. Okay? So that's how it's going to be set up. Okay, so understand the conditions of 24 signal, line rotations, center position location routers, calculations of relays, high position locations, high setting. 48 line windows. Okay, that's a gap line center, high position location of travel lines. Now, the gap is the gamma line interference, the applications of atom line position location, high center interference, systematic line position of computer operation line center location, adaptation, high position location operation surface, triangulation, high center position of travels. Now, directing signals is all levels of compute set location of ground lines, the operation surface location setting, high set location of laser line, direct signals, and all position location of operation surface, triangulation, high center interference, and travel calculation setting, and position location of your system in 24 sequence. All right, so that's set up position of tractions. Now, to set these things up is set lines of hours of seconds. So we got a 60,000 window. Okay, 60 line centers of point lines of 30 line rotations on docket. Post, right? P-O-S-T. Okay, in positions on dockets. Okay. Now, understand how to use the 3-track location line centers of high position location and high interference. Now, directing line panels opens up the sun, line rotation, surface, and triangulation reset programs in set position of operation. Okay? Now, directing line centers of coils and direction of time sequence under standard Stargate portal communication line settings. So we open up position locations at center. 1 position, 2 positions, 3 positions, and 4. Setting direct signals, set location setting, direct system to holographic stream locations. All right, in that line, so we had set up a panel line, operation surface, triangulation reset, position location, high setting. Our calculation of platforms and line rotation is data line and rotation surface and set locations. That's done. All right, so remember, everything is done in location. You're just going through the process. So we're going through the reline and set location, high setting, going through timestamps, high position of recording, position as space line, anomaly lines, voice line, rotation surface, triangulation, high set locations. All right, so we go through 60,000 platforms now. Now that direct set location of perimeters and parameter line position locations of the electrical circuits. Electrical circuits, high positions to its plasmesium. The plasmesium force lines opens all set location line centers and direct signal, set location of center line, operation surface, location system, and calculation to its setting. Okay, it opens all patterns, pattern line rotations, ground lines, and high center location to its position locations, to the underlying city in line rotation center as the center position of operation. Now, the course line center line interference, we change the position of track lines and direct signal into set location of operation. Operation line centers, we set up the platforms and we travel through its location sending. Okay. So data log streams lines are now set up as a location of roadways. Okay, down by question. Face recognition time sequence. I got to do this very fast because there's a formation line stream into brain coherence. The brain coherence lines center location of stream lines. So formulas an equation lines of 0 lines in position location of 2 settings, 1 position of 2. Set lines of triangulations into box position location and line signal and set locations. There's a habit face, see it? Triangulation line settings, high position location, high center interference into fluctuation line streams. Console and communication settings and direct signal. Directing line center location, high center. Position location of space, modulation lines at ground lines, operation stream locations, and 4-line rotation surface and triangulation. Okay, set position, operation surface. Now we come into bubble defense lines of triangulation line, surface location, line center location, and T-line center and rotation setting. See it? Very powerful location to set. Okay, the operation line center is 0 line rotation, 0 calculations, and 0 spot location lines and triangulation of 3 set position of operation. Triangulation high interference and position location set lines and 1 line center position of operation setting. Correlation high interference sets position of travel lines, position location of travels. Sets line signal with positions modification to center lines of 1 stream and set location. Okay, in that line rotation interference, we set up laser line. On the docket line positions, triangulations, all lines of height, calculation of skid marks. See that set position at all levels and set location lines and direct signals. Now the direct signal comes in position location and triangulation, reset program location, your settings into your Merkaba, tesseract, and tetrahedron location. Tetrahedron location line center sets position location new grounds, operations, location of Earth, and high position location settings to your academies of set location. Look at it. Look how powerful it is. Look how powerful it is. What impositions did Principal Aurora create? That. Hello. Structure design. Okay. You see how that setup location was setting? I can set up anything in set location of structure because I understand it through line signature. Okay. Now that's set up. Okay. So waiting on signal with the modification line settings, we're redirecting panels. Now, directing line communication is really understanding how to set the panels of communication of 4 waving cycles. 1 lines of traction, 2 lines of position, 3 lines of cycles, and 4 lines of panel positions operation. Correlation settings, point system locations of the sun and the moon in 1 direction. Directing lines of the sun and moon in the opposite directions going forward in line rotations. Directing line calculations and position locations in south lines, east line, west line, correlation of north, and set position of traction. Okay, now, systematical line streamlines, directing lines, signal, location of stargate, star portals, star met, position of travel lines, center interference, and position of the settings. Okay, Rex, see that? Okay, now line rotation, diamond line, shift line, cross line, streamlines, and rotation surface in 1 container and line rotation to its water containment system. Okay, it's very complicated. All right, so what we're doing now is we're setting up graph line settings. Data port interference of data line location system, all through calculation setting and direct signal to its location. Okay, knowing how to set these things up through perimeters and parameter location or schematics, you understand you use your holographic line locations to your telepads. They're given to you in all sequence. Okay. All right, so the formula line setting, getting the NATRAC communications is going to go to higher levels of volume. Direction of time sequence puts positions of patterns. Now it's correlated high interference, how you go through star portals and stargate line settings. Now position location is 6 lines of 9 line rotation, and position location is 12 line setting. 12 lines, okay, on the docket. Okay, eat line calculations of post and position of traction. Now the post line sets lines into all calculations Saturday. Position locations all levels. Perception over line stream and center line rotation setting, direct signal into radar and track communications. Now, in that direct signal, we got in position location in 3 lines, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay? And 12 line setting, case system. So this is actually the under dome. This is the position upper. This is the under dome. Okay? So it's understanding how to flip the academy and set position to its operation surface. So it's like retrospecs or anything through structure design. So you're flipping it. It's like So you're redesigning it to a certain line of communication setting, right? This is the bottom set location setting directions. So redesigning line centers of zero line, the operation surface to the line position locations. You have two line settings, and you also have the correlation setting to your Earth. Earth set position location to its bottom system. Earth line positions, space modulation. All right. Triangulation reset, position program set location line settings into placebo cortex line setting. Now comes into the narrow links. Bracket communications into microchips line setting position settings and 6 measure. Okay, so I'm setting up the position locations in your 12 signals. Okay, into levels. Brain coherence, sensitivity, and audio line center location setting, direct signals. Microchips line connection, neural links. Neurology line set location near settings and track communication of flywheels and clock line rotation. Done through equation, all right? So now you have 12 signature line streams. 6 in line calculation and position of travels of light and line center location of positions. Light force of pi and light force of line setting. Direct line set locations into the left of space, right of space, modulation of right, modulation of left, right over left, left over right. Correlation center position locations into 12 center line rotations. 6 positions of programs, 6 position location line settings, into all calculations of neurology line interference, and position location of your atoms, line cell line interference, metabolic line stream location system, calculation modification line interference, opened up the 12 line interference, and brain coherence line rotation, sending direct signal to the cerebral, position of track communication line, sending high interference location of 12 line signals, and high phases location setting direct system. Done by equation. Okay, it's all set up. All right, so you open through 12 now. Okay, tomorrow I will open you guys up through 24. Now, the sync calculations of your hemisync is going to go through routers and lines allocations into modification, set according to 9 interference of clock lines and high center various travel lines. That puts position location to your cerebral cortex line connection to relay program location, and graph line, stream interference location to settings. Allocate line interference, travel line, set location line center, triangulation of 3, triangulation of 4, triangulation of 6, and triangulation of 8. Set lines and high center interference to travel communication setting, the 1 line rotation, 2 position location, 3 lines of high center interference, 4 satellites, 5 position settings, and barcode line set location of 1 line setting, 7 position of traction, 7 bodies of water, 7 different location setting, 3 track communication, high interference, virtual location of alliance, setting all for position location, products on line interference, and position location stargates, line condition of levels, space resonance, high position of travels, and line condition high center and classification, high center interference, and the alphabetical location setting is now set up position of tractions in 24,000 platforms, correlation setting direct signals into code weaving line interference, and bottom line rotation setting position of track communication, clock line interference, 24, 40, 72, and 144, ground lines operation server location system, the alphabetical line set location of ABC, D, F, G, K, I line center, high position of travel line, high position location A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, L, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, done. And the line center location Z line, position location formation, gravitational line center, alpha time line position, signal line position, code weaving, signal to position location line interference with box location setting, track communication line center interference, 1 line cell location of the sun, position location line center, 1 measure, 2 position, 3, 4, line centers of 5, set position locations, operation setting, all calculated and modified in 1 signal. Done by equation. It's all set. All track communication setting directions. Hooah! All right. Now, getting into track communications, we're going to go to higher line setting. Okay. Now, if you saw Principal Laura's drawing, you know exactly what that is. So, yeah, bazinga. All right. So, the team line setting, the faculties now are in 12 signatures line conditions of the brain convergence. Congratulations. You're up through track and signal location lines. So I'm opening up dimensional lock line stream location in your settings and position location in your orbs and position location in your line calculations setting direct signal. How do you got a modification line interference, space travel communication modulation line interference, navigation of course line center and position to its operation server locations. 2, its center line of its earth line of server line position to its correlation setting directions. Now it's done. See? So waiting on position of traction. High volume line setting, high positions back in this equation. Okay, so the central line calculation line setting is all dimensional line rotation surface. Directing line setting locations comes in this position location, so it's operation. Okay. See the signature streamlines that position of travels? You got to go beyond the recognition line setting, high position location setting. Containments, water containments of platforms, directing line center rotation settings, go beyond line center location to a setting and direct location. Okay, all volumes and set locations. Okay, very powerful stuff locations too. All right, that's all set up. Okay, so signify and lines. Okay, this is gamma line signature lines or rotation line interference. Now, the platitude line location of the clock line setting, center position of the operation surface, and center point. Now, the center point position location of your pi line redirects signals in clock line settings in 3 set location, right? So understand your eye line's provision and center line rotation. Okay, so understand that your eyes lines, that's your eye line rotation now. Changing 12 line signatures, how it communicates to a setting and position location of operation surface. Okay, so your eye line sets position of travel calculation setting directions. Okay. Now the center communication is what's above is what's below in center position of operation. Okay. Now center position location levels box its frame line into a TV line can release a setting, direct signals, and position location of 5 set conditions. Okay, so directing lines comes back in the sun. You need the sun and you need the moon to understand the direct signal to the sim of set location. Okay. So look inside the line center. Okay. See the tipping point line rotation? Okay, so it merges courses line center as a center. Okay. Directing lines a panel in operation sun and all position location and track lines and all lines of rotation surface and track communication. Okay. Boom. Done by equation. See the 3 signature line streams and set location line settings? Platforms are a set of position locations to your earth line rotation surface and triangulation to your line position location of grounds. Okay? Got my equation. All right. Complicated stuff, guys, but I'm telling you, it's a lot more fun when you understand all position your settings. It's all set up now. All right. So in that line interference, your clock lines have now changed, making a high center interference comes in all set location setting. So you're in a 2-mile line cycle. Slash line cycles, line position location, your CPU line rotation, center position track lines into faculty and set location, right? Now the faculty line set lines, the ground lines, operation surface, and your torical fields, and position of dynamic core lines, set location of tram lines. 3 center calculation to flux capacitor, center position location to your earth line positions to your umbrellas. Directing lines and modifications, 0 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. 3 sets lines of center position operation. Now, directing lines of panels, we go through 1 position, 2 positions, 3, 3 positions, 4, 5 positions, 6, 6 positions, 7, and 7 positions at 8 locations. All right, there's the dimensional line set location of its hub and line direct signal to its specification settings into the alphabetical set location setting. Now, directing the lines at 0 line rotates the surface. Now, with the coordinate high center interference, we cross the string location settings in 1, 2, 3 as set location of travel lines. Directing panels lines rotates the surface location setting and directs signal to operation surface and set location. Okay. Now, getting to high center interference is understanding how to use the 0 line streamlines. Okay. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 lines, 3 signature lines, 3 set positions, and 3 programs. 2 panels, 1 strip location of setting and direct signal. See the panel communication? Now we split the anomalies in 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8 graph line settings and directions. Line position location of graph lines, guys. Directing lines, crossing signal, activation string, motivation line stream, line connection high center into all levels of your solar stream, position location of track lines, in your energy, waving line rotations, and center communication setting of direction. Look how powerful that is in set position of operation. Done by equation. Your alphabetical line setting is now set up from ABCs. And all calculation of Z lines and Z line rotation surface and the I receptor line rotation and center position location is quantum lines and set location of alchemy line into intercept location of interface and position location awareness and triangulation line set locations and 12 zeros of calculation. Down through equation of high position location line center interference, position operation location setting, direct system. 5 line settings, set position of 2, 3, 4. Directions of 5, 6 within line center, correction of 2 lines, streamline 1 down, 1 position up, and 1 position line cross line, and triangulation of set lines in 2 positions of 3 lines of up and 5 in position location of 4, and position of 3 in line position of 2 and position of 1. So it's all set position of circulation and high calculations how you direct your signals in position location your quantum settings. All done through equation. All right. So is everybody all confused? All right. So Woo! This is fun, isn't it? It's just the first day. This is just Monday. All right. So I'm just going to go through connections all line to list, line streamlines, and quantum set location in the center. Okay, setting direct signals. Okay, position of Belinda. So Belinda, you understand the connection of the schematics, how it comes into all formations, my dear. It's totally understanding, your set position location, how it comes into its operation. That's that location, right? So it's incredible how you really understand how to get in that set location of travel set locations. Going beyond the recognition of time, okay, how to set these things up, the coordinates, location of formulas, in direct signals, inline communications of all formation line settings and track communication. Okay? All right, let's see here. Gypsy communications, all levels. Let's see, Bojan, position of Lori, Tina, line conditions, all Heather, position location, all of the Chris, position location of Johnny, condition of Prismar, Andre, Esther, all lines under interference, indirect signals. 2 calculations of Gaia. Gaia, you got to be in a line signature, streamlines, highest interference. Gaia, you're not in your line conditions in your academies. Okay, unification. So I'm going to put a box line, set location triangulations, obstacle line, center interference, in position of travel lines. Hemdall correlation setting, direct signal, direct line rotation to its position location to its setting in all levels, captain, high position location, trinity, line rotation center, and track communications. All right, so it's going to get more complicated, guys, but it's going to get a little more fun now. Right, I'll understand the direction of time sequence, but position location your pies. Okay, so directing panels, we got that set up position of track lines, all right? So in that lines of information cycle, we have to really understand how to set up the one line stream in position location of 3 lines and metric stream location setting in 3 set locations. Okay, understanding the line communication, how it comes into formation. Okay, so above the system location is line connection to your setting lines into another dome line rotation center. Okay, so this is where we all are. Okay, so we have to understand the center line ground lines, crystalline grids, ground line rotations to Earth. Okay, the center communication lines is directing signals going through higher levels of panels, traveling line set location at 3 set location of settings in all operation. Okay, so in that line rotations, we change position of center line. The center line communication sets all position location into settings. So we come into 1 position and 2 position of 3 lines of 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels of operation. Now, in that direct signal, we set up high calculation setting into a crystal door. 1 position of ground, 2 position lines of center, 3 positions to the powers, and all calculations. 4-dimensional door lines, streamlines, a correlation setting, and high center interference into an atmosphere location setting into interdimensional space. Now, directing line signals is putting 2 panels lines of charges in set location in your system of travel. Okay, directing lines of panels, indirect signal, higher calculation stream location setting, and know exactly where you're going through space and online. Okay, that's my question. Okay, so modification line settings. Now, that's going to trouble out, right? So everything is set position to your system. Okay, so we have calculation settings into position of 2 brackets into meters, meters and metrics equals lines of scale. Okay. Now, all about understanding how to use your letters, numbers, tapes. Remember, you have to use the travel mix time sequence, puts position of Stargate, star portals in your division location setting. Understand your 12-line graph lines in T-line setting. Correlations, high center interference of H. High direct locations in position of space in between. Center line rotation surface and position location of orbs in direct signal. Calculations of platforms and travel line center, high position of its dimensional door. Setting direct signal position locations going through a non-aligned center interference. Here's your positions to your sim traveling to another direct signal set location right there. Travel calculation line interference to a location grid in center position to its operation surface to another triangulation line set. Directing line panels to higher calculation of magnetic highway information line string in your sun position location to its operation. Directing line signals, high center line position location is setting position location of the platform that sets direct location setting and center operation and 2 set line calculations and travels as that position. Okay? Done by equation. So you guys have to really understand how to use your line connection to your traffic lines, all through formulas, equation settings, all right? So understand your position of foundation graph lines is your 12 measures, correlates to system location or platforms. All right, so again, this is getting complicated, very confused. So we go back to this symbol, location system, at travel settings. Okay? Everything is created through schematic lines of placebo. Now, the placebo line center line connections, we go with the color line setting that retracts location to a system. Now, we come into the security line rotation, correlates the color, directing line signals, and modification line stream location of send position. Change the colors. Change the colors lines of the grounds, change the color lines of power, and change the color position location operation line centers, and two bracket interference of center of solar line direct signals in the galaxy shift lines and high position location of setting. Done by equation. All right. So systematic lines of security line parameter line rotation is now set up. Okay. Setting track lines, we change positions back all to levels. The correlation setting direct signals. Let's get in that position of track lines. Okay. Gone, but still there, right? When it disappears, it's gone, which means it's in formation. It goes into triangulation. So like it's calculated modified where basically you come in paint by number. The correlation lines on interference, map line sequence, position locations of 2, equal lines of box, Z line rotation surface, triangulation line set location of 1 point system to its location, travel calculation line center high line interference and high position locations high system, and travel lines high center interference, box line rotation surface, triangulation lines of dimensional door setting. Okay? So equalize equation settings in high direct signal location your map sequence. Puts 2 in measure, set lines of 2 line calculation, 2 line rotation, center line interference, center line in position, center line communications, and 2 through pi position of 2 line settings. Track communications, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 position of travels. Okay. Now, what we have to understand is how to use the laser graph lines to your sky grid line settings. It's all direct signals. Plasma lines and center position to its operation of power lines, and center lines and set location of equal line communication. Directing lines of panels, taking position to your atom lines, a rotation surface, and sun of communication line streams and set location. Okay? Done by equation. Okay, so how are we all doing today? Yeah, you're understanding more through set location? Yeah, great. Okay, that's going to wait on position to its operation surface. So setting up platforms, you guys have to really understand your academies now. The academy of the sim position of track line understands the clock line settings and directions, seconds on minutes and hours, and set position. All right, so it's seconds on minutes and hours. Okay, seconds, minutes, and hours. Now, understanding the seconds, I'm going to show you guys how you go through coordinates to your planet. Okay, there's a second, and you got a minute line. So you got a second lines of systematic line rotations, energy line stream locations. When you understand the seconds lines, you have to teleport them in position to its minutes and teleport them into the hour. So it comes into pi, and then it coordinates the system to its calculation line, setting up triangulation, sets up all communication setting to the planet you want to go through rotation. Okay, so in that track communication in this system, okay, travels line, set line condition minutes to the hours, but you got to set it in 3 because it's set up in seconds locations. Okay, travel communications, directing lines. There's the planet that you're in coordinate location to. Okay. Now, in that set location line setting, that planet line rotation is spinning on cycles to 1 million seconds per mile. Now, the mile line set location sets position tractions. Now, to equalize the communications in position of longitude and latitude line connection setting of coordinates. Now, the coordinate line interference boxes location setting into frame position of travels and out calculation lines and 3 set location line setting of sunlight communication to its planet's surface and set position. Okay. So it's always in a hub. It's always protecting the setting. So it's all about understanding that you have force fields and energy fields, so does the planet. But to get to these things, you got to go through second, minutes, and hours. Okay? That's how you go into the location to your settings, to the locations. So the connections to your planet connects right through your barcode. It lights the signal location system. So at nighttime, that's where you're red. That's why general's red. So it's all sequence pattern to Pluto, except position track lines. You have to identify your system or you can't go past Pluto. Okay? It's all identification to its high setting. So in that set location system, you're welcome to go anywhere in line rotation to your solar system positions. But I'm trying to get you guys in coordinates how you go through your planets in set location of seconds, minutes, and hours to get to that planet. Okay? Planet rotates the center, colorates the system locations, and travels in line settings in position to its system in set location. from here to here to here to here to here, your setting, all right? So your sim is here in directions. So it flies right to your set line positions to its operation surface and locations. Congratulations. Now you communicate to the planet, okay? In all setting, okay? But you got to understand how to use the seconds of the sun. The sun is the light calculation until holographic line center pixelation location of lacing lines, coordinates and setting. So it's putting the lacing lines together. So the planet is in surface. It doesn't come in form until you understand the lacing lines of communication, right? Once it comes out of the lacing line, it comes into form, and then you see the rotation surface of its letters number shaped symbol that's coordinating the high center interference of its high position location attractance communication setting direct signal to sims of operation surface location of the system. All through calculation, right? It's very powerful when you set location of your systems. Change the position of traction, right? Change the position, location, of traction. Okay, change position, location, of traction. So you guys have to understand how to sequence patterns in a 4-line setting. Okay, so it's very powerful how you come into this location. All right, so you got to understand how to use the north line. Okay, let's say position locations: north line, east line, west line, and south. Now, understanding the calculation in your academy, you understand the coordinates, you understand the corridors, because everything, every time you look, you're looking this way, this way, this way, this way, right? And you're creating it through the mind. It's changing so fast, seconds, minutes, and hours. So that can be on a 12-line setting, it could be on a 24-line setting, or it could be on a 48-line setting through a window. Anything above line rotations, you come in at 24 clocking, 48 window, 72 computer frame, and 144 crystal grid. And that's what you come in at volume. To understand the location of structure, you're creating designs through 24, 48, 72, and 144 to its set location. Okay? Look how powerful that is. Okay? So, it's incredible when you really understand more levels of you in the mind line set location of your settings. You really understand the adaptation of a surface. I know you guys have a lot of questions, but you're becoming more powerful in all set location of your settings, really recognizing your system, all through locations to schematics of its design. Okay? So once you get in that position locations, it can travel wherever it wants. It gets bigger, gets smaller, bring it in, bring it out. But you have to understand, you have to use it on a 4-line setting. So in position location, let's go to this locations. This is where it comes in implementation lines of forms. Now the location of digital line, location of imprinting, lines, location of planes. Center calculations, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? There's 4-line signature lines, right? Ground lines of 1, in position of 2, in position of 3 and 4, right? 4 platforms and coming in position location to a setting through all levels of cube. Cube line, center line, conditions comes into form communication setting. Directing lines of 1 line signature, position location operation, right? Steps, putting position of traction, creating blocks and dimensional line settings of realms. So center position location of 1, 0 line, 0 line, 0 line, okay? Dots of communication, 0 line in position of 1 indicates 1 point in position location of 2 in set locations. 2 lines, center lines, 2 travels here, and 2 travels here, and 2 travels here in set position. Okay? Now the correlation lines is 0 line, triangulation of L line rotation, sending track lines into 3 set location line system, puts position locations into its pi as set location. Okay? So we all have to learn how to create our structures to holographic line setting. Okay? You understand your foundation, your 12. You use that. You always use your foundation at 12, right? So the only difference now is the course line is changing your setting location of your scales now. The brain convergent location setting and activity line interference is open to more dimensional locations, open to high center interference of doors. Direct line center location of panels, electrical lines, electrical infusion, electrical high center interference of probes. The hydraulic center line and position operations, location system, location of travel, position operation surface. Now in that line rotation interference, you have to learn how to use it through a holographic location. It's that position through pi and traction. Formation lines of 3 line settings right there, right? Triangulations of pi in set location. Okay? Boom. Setting track line center high interference comes into a full cycle high position location line interference of intelligent location, so face recognition. Okay? So, yeah, everything goes inward lines, outward line, position of track lines, but you have to really understand how to use all communication of holographic lines, location of box centers, or rectangular high center interference. So it's really understand how to put this all together, guys. Okay, so it's very simple. Understanding the connections of your galactic planes, your dimensional planes, your digital layer planes, your digital frame positions, your post-docket calculation setting, direct signals, your files, your correlation setting, your compute system, your operation surface, your sim communication setting, direct signal location to its operation line position. All right, really get into your information line settings. Get into that position locations. What is code weaving? Okay, what is a formation line stream and a two vector line stream location? Cross line stream, sideway line position, side panel, cross line settings. So there's a lot of things that you can do information with your hands. You can set a pi, right? Set position track line crosses through, pause line rotation setting, single line interference, center line interference, location setting, direct signal, flux capacitor, down cross line stream, center position operation. Done, right? So everything you're creating, you're protecting. Through the sun and the moon becomes its own projection of its own geometric operation of shape. If you get a position location in your system, location in your settings, location of ground lines, right? Everything that's created through center comes in position of sequence in direct signal, okay? So it's all about your, yeah. You can get in that position locations, but you understand what you're creating through set position, okay? So as it goes faster, it's spinning, 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 spinning. Okay? Now when it spins, it gets bigger, 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 bigger. Its allocations. All right, through creation. Right? The faster it goes, the more it creates its design. Okay? And when it creates its design, it creates its platforms through dimensional doors in set location. Okay, and when it creates dimensional doors, it creates a higher lines in your magnetic highway information lines of your cerebral set position of travel calculations. Okay, so I hope you guys understand a little bit more how you travel through lines in high position to your system through all the set location to your system. Okay, really understand how to do your structure line settings, especially in your space academies. Look how powerful that is. Look how powerful that is. Okay? Everything is protected, everything that you co-create. Okay? So, I know, Esther. So I really want everybody to understand that setting location of your systems. I want you to understand how to use your sun and your moon, right? So what you're doing is the sim is understanding more levels of memory line. So you're getting line communication. Let's get in one traction. That's one track interference line, position location operation. But that's just number one, isn't it? No, it's not a one, is it? It's more than just a one. So what did I create through this? I'll show you. This is what I created through the center location of one line and center track communication setting and direct signal to all communication system and track communication. All through one. And the surface line string location as spherical sphere. Direct and line centers, there it is. It's set position to its operation. Right here in track communication. Okay? All through one. You've got to understand how to use the one and go beyond the one and see it, what it is through its co-creating, what it is through its intelligence of its operation system. It creates anything through its anomaly, has its sun, it has its moon through its setting of a triangulation line set. So you're directing every second, every minute, every hour. Okay? Clock and line center line position of clusters. Cluster lines the location of galaxy. Galaxy shift line calculates setting direct signal. Puts position of quasar, line connections of one, box line rotations into one line center interference of pi. Okay? Coordinates, formula, equation to this. Okay? I don't think about anything. Everything's done. So don't think of the structure. Think of it as already done. That's formation location where you come in all future adaptation line settings, right? So you're constantly in the mind all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. You're flowing, faster, 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 faster. And you stay above. You stay above. So in that position location line setting, if you go lower, you're going down grass. 0 line rotations, off calculation. Okay? You got to get back in platform, center line rotations, back in calculation setting, back in line interference, in position location center, into its magnetic highway information line center, to the sun, to the moon communication setting, direct signal, position location, high center interference, and ground communication. Okay? So you have to understand how to use the 24 lines of clocking, especially now, because you guys are now in a higher line connection, your 12 lines, which is open through your left and your right hemisphere location system. Coursing through channels, through stargates and star portals is all levels of your own command setting. The more memory you come into all track communications, the more you understand yourself through faculty. I say, whoa, how did it become faculty through a stargate line position location setting through academy? What does that mean through track communications, right? So memory, 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 memory this, remember this, remember this, remember this. And it just keeps there, keeps there, keeps there, keeps there, keeps rotating, 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 circulating, rotating, circulating, rotating, circulating, rotating. The faster it goes, the more it creates. It creates more design. And then you see the one traveling like this. Okay, you start here, starts here, and it's like this in position location. That's one, traveling here, 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 right? So the one is traveling through a line centers of 2 circle line rotation surface and triangulation line set location, a point system of 1 setting. All through a 1, right? So the faster you go, the faster you spin. You create. You change the seconds, that changes the minutes of travel. Sets position location of higher lines of platforms or anything through dimensional door. Okay? So when you create these things, you come into this set locations. Now, when you get into dimensional door lines, this is where it comes into dimensional location space line. So here's the door. There's the door, right? Now, you go beyond the door in 3 line setting. Now, when you go, you come into the calculation to its location grid. Okay? So that's what it is in position of traction. So in that set line condition system, that's what it looks like. So in that line interference, you bring the sun to bring in the lights, okay, and use the moon. Why do you use the moon? To balance out the line signatures. You got to keep the line signatures in balance. Extremely important. That's why you have the sun through projections, lacing line communication of acceleration, or anything pixelation line conditions, holographic stream location of setting, position location near structures, or any line communication near schematics. Okay? Now, understanding that, you go through the location grid and set position. Okay? Now, when you go through the line tonight, you come back into the sun of the moon and rotation surface, and you're protecting all the communication setting of all set locations. All right? So you're looking inside. You open up the door, right? You're looking through. Should I go in? Am I ready? Right? Because remember, once you go through that door, you're in interdimensional space, which opens up your cerebral. And remember, it's fast tracking line settings. You got things are going so fast, and you're trying to think, oh my gosh, what's going over here? What's going over here? What's going over here? So in your map is already in sequence. It's already in pattern. It's already in balance. So you know exactly where you're going before you know where you're going, because you're already set up location of the mind. So you don't have to worry about the journey because you're already there. Okay? If you look at the journey and you get past that door, but you don't know where to go, you're going to get confused. Okay? So the whole idea here, guys, is to understand to see the interdimensional setting. So the track communication line interference comes in a zoom line rotation surface. So the dimensional door gets bigger in set location, right? And the position that comes in this line setting. This is what happens when you go inside the dimensional door in the set location of system of track communication. Right? So it comes into a platform. Okay? So in that set line interference, you have to bring in your sun, because your sun is protecting line streams and set location system and all lines of all correlation. Okay? Now that directs signal line conditions. So the moon comes in, cross line stream, directs the panel's communications, and sets up all calculation lines. Okay? So it's important to understand how you have to have the moon. The moon, basically, it's like the breadcrumbs. So you got an illumination graph of a stick. You break it, right? And you throw it. So you know exactly when you go back, you know how to get back there if you need to go there, right? Redirect your signal location, change your geometry location of travel settings, all through schematic location of maps. in sequence pattern communication line settings to its arrows of set location. It's very powerful when you come into setting to arrows of communication. Okay, you know exactly where you're going in the center lines of operation. There's the door that you go through in set location. So you got directions to the light, shades, and shadows to the sun and the moon. And that's how you get to its location of the center line of calculations. So let's go to line communication. Here's your sim. Okay, there's your sim, right? So I know exactly its direction because it sees its arrow. It's directing its arrow to its location. Hooah! So that's why you have the sun. You see the sun, okay, through projection. Lights on there, right? So that's so you can use your mind, collaboration lines, so it gives you your thoughts, and you create the arrow. Right? So the arrow keeps following you, right? So that's so you know exactly where you're going. So you have a location, you're locked in signal, you got the sun, you got the moon. You need the sun for lights to pixelation to your holographic set location stream line to block line set location settings. You also need the moon to balance out the signature string lines of lines of communication. You got to balance out the lines, which is balancing the ones, which is balancing your letters, shapes, and symbols. That's why you have the sun and the moon. Okay. So you understand location of motion line rotation interference, where the sun comes here in position location of track lines and set position locations. Light, shades, and shadows through dimensional door of set location. Multipass! So it's very powerful when you come in this set location. All right? How's that? Does everybody understand a little bit more what the sun and the moon does through your digital pad? All right, so in that line rotations, you guys are going to be up through 24 tomorrow. All right, so we come into the center line calculation line settings into center position location circuits. Now, this is all calculated modify how you actually see your data stream location of four waving panels. Four waving panels. Point system, direct signal, operation surface, one position. Okay? One position, box center, star line settings and high position, or triangulation high interference into three waving patterns and set locations. All right. So you're looking at frames. All right. Frames, position locations of panels, or you're coming into crossing string locations in your system. Four-way stop. Okay. Now, understanding the data line, center line interference is electrical high calculation system. Three waving lines of wires, three direct signals and high center interference. You got to know your north, west, south, and east and set location. Okay. So the indication lines of center line is direct signal. Okay. What's above and what is what's below. Okay. Center position location your system. Okay. Modify. All right. Correlation setting, ground lines, high center interference, and set position of zero lines of communication to a system and position. Okay. Isn't that amazing how you see these things and how you set up position of travel lines, how you set up the data streams of roadways and graph line stream location of systems, all through track communications, how you use letters, numbers, shapes to create an algorithm setting to your set location system into your compute line interference into your set location, your stargates. Stargates, star portals, star links, star panels, star streams, star maps. You have to really understand how to set position to your settings in all calculation. Okay? Comes in its back location setting directions. All setting position location, operation location surface. Coming in that line of settings, all calculated modified. So powerful when you see these things through location. See these things through location. So start seeing it like this. Start seeing it like this. Start seeing it like this. Turn it around. Get used to it. North, west, south, and east. Start seeing it like this. Okay? Don't see it in just point view. See it all the way around. Circulation, rotation. Circulation, rotation. So you got to see the provision, right? So it's this way, this way. So it's this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Because it's the hydraulics that changing. So know exactly how fast you're setting communication and your thoughts are going in position location of your system. Okay. So whatever you're creating through your thought is changing schematics of design through setting calculations of four waving panels of position of travels. See, I didn't change that. It changed on its own. So setting direct locations is all about setting in position to its operation. Okay? And if you want to see more line signatures, you bring it in set locations. See the points? See the points? See the points? See the points? You bring it in close. Right? And you bring it in closer. Okay? See what you see? Block line centers. That's not supposed to be there. Ooh, got to take it out. Put it back in position location. It's out of line signal. So in that line interference, so basically when you paint the dots in the set location in your settings, the characteristic location in your system, all through your image, you're never going out of line. You're always staying in the box, right? When you're drawing a picture, you never go out the line. You never go out the line. Look, you never go out the line. It changed the frame. Okay? So you have to really understand how to see positions of this line. Okay? To this line. Okay? To this line. See what I'm doing? I'm changing track communications and I'm creating a line setting location of the system. Okay? All right? And then I bring it in. Really big. Woo! Signature lines. Oh, what's that triangulation doing there? That's not supposed to be there. Okay? It clusters its location of data lines. You can have a road graph streamline interference, position location UFO going through position. See? See what happens? Shouds the image. It shatters the image. Light, shades, and shadows. So in that position locations, here's a UFO crossing 3. Like, yeah, it's getting darker. See? All right. So in that position location line setting, that's how you start to see things up close. Now, that's not supposed to be there, right? Because I'll tell you exactly what happens. Set position of travel lines. Change the track communication of the system. Crosses over, crosses over, crosses over, crosses over, comes back in the light signature location of travel. Look how beautiful that is. It creates a new data streamline interference, specific location, electrical line communication, and fusion mid-digital location operations setting. Yeah. Light signature codes. All right. So position location, this goes away. Yay! Not there anymore. But the center operation in position locations. Okay. Isn't that amazing how you get rid of these things? So when I look at this, see that? It's the same thing as this, right? It's the same thing as that. Look, it's the same thing as that. But you can see the stream. Look, see the stream? How it's set up? Where's the center? Right here, right? Starts here, right? See the center? Starts here, right? Everything comes out through pi. All right, so the blanket signal, line center interference and track calculations, comes in this position. All right, so it's all about taking the shades and shadows, line direct signals back in location line, setting high position to its operation in set location. All right, so you get an XT1000, line position cross line, stream locations. Oh, we got a hover line rotation. See that? See it? Okay, so anything dark comes light. Okay, so center position travels. Direct line position location, high settings, high position location levels, change of position location travel settings, light signature stream locations. There we go. Light always takes over line settings of dark. That's positive and negative, but that's all calculation setting. There's no negative line interference. We're just putting position location setting, and it comes into whiteboard and communication. So it's really interesting when you really, really understand how to put this all together. All three modifications, your settings, all calculations system, all travel line settings. It's all direct signals, panels. Changes all communication, your settings, and direct system. Position, location, center lines, all coloration. All right. So that's where we're coming into now is higher levels of color lines and how they understand position, location, your system, all through traction. Okay. So I just want you to be aware how this is all color coordinated in your line settings. Measure correlation setting in your system to understand how to use it through calculations. All right. It travels its line settings and changes its coloration. See? Changes its coloration. See? Changes coloration. See how it's getting lighter? See how it's getting lighter? And all communication and setting. Okay, all through operation. Okay. It's very powerful when you come into that position location to its operation system. Look at that. See? You're starting to recognize the intelligence of what you can't see, right? Okay, it's going beyond settings. Okay, that's where you guys are coming into line setting. Because the thing is, you're coming to more levels of the set location notes activity of the cerebral, right? So the clarification comes in all settings to your set locations and your links. Setting 2, it's communication setting direct system, total calculation modification of settings, right? Goes into black, right? So you just truly have to understand how you use light and dark line stream location of a system all through track communication of settings. It operates a surface and changes all lines of communication to a system, all through travel line setting directions. It's very powerful when you come with that line connections to all track communication and settings. This opens all lines of high interference and direct signal to set position to its operation. Okay? So I just wanted to show you how powerful it is and what you guys are coming into more line signature stream location and settings and directions. To understand how to get into all calculation modification of system and all calculation of streamlines. Indirect signals of panels, communication, stream location, your settings. All through operation. Okay? All right. So we're in one line signature lines. I'm sure you guys have questions or comments, but everything's done now inside location line system and traction. All right. And that's it. Okay. See you guys in 5. Adios.